Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Ridge and Taylor elope, only to return home married and enrage Brooke? Ridge Forrester and Taylor Hayes' elopement shocked their friends, family, and, most significantly, Brooke Logan. Their unexpected marriage set off a maelstrom of emotions and drama. After years of back and forth between Brooke and Taylor, Ridge's choice to marry Taylor not only reinforced their relationship but also struck a shattering blow to Brooke, who felt betrayed and angry, sparking a heated war between these two longtime rivals. Ridge and Taylor's elopement shook the Forrester family to its core, fracturing relationships and calling loyalty into question. Ridge had been torn for years between the two women who had defined his life, Brooke, with whom he shared an electrifying and passionate connection, and Taylor, the loving and dependable presence who made him feel at home. Both ladies represented distinct pieces of Ridge's heart, and his reluctance to make a final decision had caused so much pain. However, as Ridge and Taylor reconnected over a romantic retreat, Ridge realized that the tranquility and stability Taylor brought into his life were just what he needed. Their time together reignited old feelings, and Ridge recognized that Taylor's steadfast love and support were exactly what he was looking for all along. The impetuous choice to elope was completely appropriate for Ridge and Taylor's restored affection. Standing on a stunning cliffside in a distant area, the two exchanged vows in a private ceremony that felt more important than any large wedding could. With the ocean as their backdrop and the promise of a new beginning in their hearts, Ridge and Taylor swore their love to one another, leaving behind the uncertainties and complications that had previously plagued their relationship. It was a moment of pure ecstasy for the couple, the opportunity to rewrite their story on their own terms. But back in Los Angeles, their covert marriage would have far-reaching ramifications, particularly for Brooke. Ridge and Taylor's elopement not only surprised Brooke, but it also dashed any hopes she had of reconciling with Ridge. For Brooke, it was more than simply losing Ridge, it was about the humiliation of being abandoned and the pain of betrayal from a guy she thought would always come back to her. The fact that Ridge had chosen Taylor over her felt like a dagger to the heart, and Brooke's reaction was as volcanic as one might anticipate. Brooke was furious when Ridge and Taylor returned home as newlyweds. Brooke, unable to contain her emotions, confronted Ridge, demanding answers and wondering how he could abandon their decades-long love story. Her voice trembled with rage and sadness as she accused Ridge of leading her on and surprising her with his decision. Ridge, for his part, remained steadfast, maintaining that his marriage to Taylor was about finding happiness and stability, which he had been missing for far too long. He said that his relationship with Brooke had devolved into a never-ending cycle of anguish and disappointment, and he was ready to go. The argument between Brooke and Taylor was similarly explosive. Brooke wasted no time in accusing Taylor of manipulating Ridge and using his vulnerabilities. Taylor, however, declined to be portrayed as the villain. She justified her connection with Ridge, reminding Brooke that Ridge chose to marry her on his own will. Taylor's calm but forceful manner upset Brooke even more, and the two women found themselves involved in a verbal struggle that brought years of bitterness to the surface. Brooke and Taylor's animosity had always been strong, but this latest development brought it to a new level. As Brooke, Ridge, and Taylor's tensions rose, the Forrester family found themselves caught up in the turmoil. Steffi and Thomas, overjoyed with their parents' reunion, rallied around Ridge and Taylor, celebrating their marriage as a long-awaited family win. Ridge and Taylor's love was an opportunity to repair old wounds and re-establish the oneness they had long desired. However, not everyone was on board with the elopement. Eric Forrester, while thrilled for his kid, couldn't help but feel conflicted over Brooke's grief, and his devotion to her caused a schism in the family. Even Hope Logan became enmeshed in the story, as her mother's sadness had a tremendous impact on her. Hope had always been skeptical of Ridge's capacity to genuinely commit, and seeing her mother crushed once more only reinforced her view that Ridge had made the wrong decision all along. She did her best to encourage Brooke, but the scenario merely rekindled old tensions between Hope and Steffi, whose joy at their parents' wedding conflicted with Hope's devotion to her mother. As the dust settled, it was evident that Ridge and Taylor's elopement was only the start of a new chapter full of problems. Despite their determination to make their marriage work, they couldn't ignore the storm rising around them. Brooke's rage was not going away quickly, and her drive to battle for what she thought was rightly hers posed a persistent threat to their happiness. Furthermore, if Ridge and Taylor were to construct a long-term future together, they would need to confront any remaining concerns and insecurities from their past. Brooke felt betrayed, which served as a wake-up call. As much as she wanted to think Ridge was her destiny, his actions forced her to face the possibility that their relationship had run its course. However, Brooke was not one to give up easy. Her pain spurred her determination, and she intended to show Ridge that he had made a mistake in selecting Taylor. Brooke's attempt to regain Ridge would continue, whether through subtle manipulation or forceful statements. Meanwhile, Ridge and Taylor's marriage experienced its own set of difficulties. While they were profoundly in love, other influences threatened to derail their newfound bliss. The continual reminders of Ridge's history with Brooke, as well as the ever-present prospect of Brooke interfering with their life, generated an unsettling tension. Taylor, in particular, was concerned that Ridge's affections for Brooke would return, casting a shadow over their relationship. Despite the obstacles, Ridge and Taylor were determined to make their marriage work. They were aware that their love story was far from flawless, but they were confident in their ability to conquer the challenges in their way. For them, the elopement was both a declaration of their love and an opportunity to start again, free of the drama and toxicity of the past. It was unclear whether they would be able to truly leave the past behind. Finally, Ridge and Taylor's elopement was a watershed moment not only in their relationship but also in the lives of others around them. It caused Brooke to confront her own routines and reconsider what she wanted out of life. It drew the Forrester family closer together while also emphasizing the fractures that still needed to be repaired. And for Ridge and Taylor, it was a test of their love and ability to deal with the difficulties that came with their decision. Only time would tell if their marriage would last or disintegrate under the weight of their convoluted history. One thing was certain, their elopement had paved the way for a new chapter full of love, drama, and limitless possibilities. Taylor Hayes has always been known for her calm and reasonable nature, in stark contrast to the wild and unpredictable Brooke Logan. This balance has maintained Taylor in Ridge Forrester's life over the years, frequently serving as the calm following Brooke's storm. But what happens when the roles are reversed, and Taylor's mistake prompts Ridge to question everything? The unraveling of their long-awaited reunion could revive Ridge and Brooke's passion while also pushing Taylor into uncharted emotional terrain. Ridge's return to Taylor had been about rediscovering stability, something he sought following the wild romance that marked his decades-long relationship with Brooke. Taylor represented a safe harbor, a steadying presence who provided unwavering support and kindness. Yet, as perfect as it appeared, their reunion was not without challenges. Under the veneer of their restored romance lied Taylor's persisting worries and unsaid concerns, which had always defined her relationship with Ridge. While she worked constantly to keep the image of perfection intact, the fractures in her facade began to show, and it was only a matter of time before they fell away. The big mistake that drove Ridge racing back to Brooke was not a single spectacular incident, but a sequence of decisions Taylor made out of fear and insecurity. Her decision to intervene in Ridge's career and personal relationships sparked the chaos that ensued. Taylor's actions, whether persuading Steffi to take a harsh stance with Hope or covertly undercutting Brooke in conversations with Ridge, exposed a side of her that Ridge hadn't seen before, one plagued by jealousy and a desperate need to prove her place in his life. Taylor's mistake began innocently enough, when she expressed concerns about Brooke's continued presence in Ridge's life. Her concerns were not unjustified. Brooke's influence on Ridge had long been a source of tension. Instead of confronting Ridge with her sentiments, Taylor used persuasion and subtle comments at Brooke's character. Her attempt to change Ridge's mind backfired, leaving him feeling confined and furious. Ridge, who valued honesty above all else, came to view Taylor's actions as a breach of trust. The breaking point came when Taylor, in a moment of vulnerability, told Steffi about her concerns of losing Ridge again. Steffi, who was extremely loyal to her mother, decided to protect Taylor at any costs. Her meddling with Hope and Thomas's work at Forrester Creations, combined with her rising resentment toward Brooke, heightened tensions within the Forrester family. When Ridge realized Taylor's complicity in Steffi's deeds, he was devastated. Taylor's actions reminded him of the deceptive techniques he had long associated with Brooke, raising the issue of whether Taylor genuinely offered the stability he needed. As Ridge began to withdraw, Brooke found herself back at the focus of his thoughts. Brooke, unlike Taylor, had always been unashamed about her flaws, passions, and unpredictable personality. While their relationship was far from ideal, it was built on a profound bond that neither time nor distance could break. Brooke approached Ridge with genuine worry after noticing the tension between him and Taylor. Her desire to listen without passing judgment reminded Ridge of the traits that had drawn him to her in the first place. Ridge, Taylor, and Brooke's relationship took a dramatic shift when an unexpected event pushed them to face their emotions head-on. During a Forrester family gathering, an argument between Steffi and Hope became heated, bringing unresolved feelings to the forefront. Taylor's frustration bubbled over as she sought to mediate, causing her to lash out in an unexpected way, shocking everyone, including Ridge. Her emotional response, while reasonable, simply fueled Ridge's developing worries about their compatibility. Following the tragedy, Ridge sought solace in Brooke's company. Their open and vulnerable chats reminded him of the closeness they had formed over the years. Brooke's persistent conviction in Ridge's potential, as well as her ability to challenge him in ways Taylor couldn't, sparked a spark he'd assumed had died out. Ridge recognized after one of these late-night conversations that his heart was once again split between the two women who had defined his existence. Taylor's awareness that her actions had brought Ridge closer to Brooke was distressing. She'd spent years establishing a life apart from Ridge, only to find herself repeating the same behaviors that had led their relationship to fail in the past. Her error pushed her to confront her own anxieties and reconsider what she really desired from her relationship with Ridge. While her feelings for him were apparent, she began to wonder if their reunion was built on a strong enough basis to endure the hardships they encountered. As Ridge struggled with his emotions, the Forrester family became divided. Steffi and Thomas were unwavering in their support for Taylor, while Eric and Hope gently pushed Ridge to follow his heart, even if it meant returning to Brooke. The tension inside the family reflected Ridge's personal conflict, producing an aura of unpredictability that kept everyone on edge. Ridge's final decision was based on what he valued most in a partner. Taylor provided stability and a sense of home, whilst Brooke represented passion and an unbreakable bond. His decision would not only affect his future, but also the dynamics of his relationships with Taylor, Brooke, and their children. Ridge's quest to clarity was as much about rediscovering himself as it was about deciding between two great ladies. Taylor's significant error, while painful, eventually marked a turning point in her personal development. It forced her to address her anxieties and vulnerabilities, allowing her to find strength in vulnerability. Whether Ridge opted to stay with her or return to Brooke, Taylor came away from the experience with a stronger sense of self and a better grasp of what she wanted in a companion. Brooke saw Ridge's uncertainty as a bittersweet reminder of the difficulties of their relationship. While she wished for a reunion with Ridge, she also understood the value of self-esteem and the necessity to prioritize her own pleasure. Her journey, like Taylor's, was one of growth and self-discovery, demonstrating that even in the face of loss, there is place for optimism and rebirth. As the dust settled, the love triangle formed by Ridge, Taylor, and Brooke continued to captivate people around them, providing as a reminder that love, no matter how complicated, is always worth fighting for. Whether Ridge finally selected Taylor, Brooke, or a completely different path, one thing was certain: their journey was far from ended, and the twists and turns ahead would only enhance the legacy of their enduring love. Ridge Forrester's love life has always been a tangle of emotion, passion, and heartbreak, and this time is no exception. Ridge, Brooke Logan, and Taylor Hayes' unending triangle has once again reached its breaking point. This time, however, Ridge appears to be tipping the scales in Taylor's favor, making decisions that could forever alter the relationships between these three essential actors in the Forrester tale. When Ridge hangs up on Brooke after yet another angry disagreement, and Taylor agrees to move in with him, the consequences are both explosive and unanticipated. The day began like many others, with Brooke attempting to reconnect with Ridge following their most recent disagreement. Their interactions had devolved into a loop of blame, desire, and unresolved tension. Brooke, wanting to remind Ridge of the love they shared, called him again, her voice shaking with emotion. Ridge, on the other hand, was clearly tired. He had been tormented for months between two ladies who represented two very different ideas of love and happiness. For years, Brooke's flaming passion had enthralled him, but now he was pulled to Taylor's apparent stability and tranquility. Ridge's patience dwindled as Brooke poured her heart out over the phone, attempting to explain her side of their most recent disagreement. The talk immediately turned into an altercation, with Brooke accusing Taylor of manipulating the situation and Ridge defending Taylor's motives. The tension peaked when Brooke brought up the past, revisiting old wounds and questioning Ridge's loyalty. Something in Ridge snapped at that exact moment. He felt smothered by the ongoing tug-of-war and overwhelmed by Brooke's insistence on bringing up the same concerns. "Brooke, I can't do this anymore," Ridge remarked, his voice full of frustration. He abruptly ended the phone before she could react, leaving Brooke startled on the other end. For Ridge, hanging up was more than just an impulsive act of frustration, it was a symbolic action, a method of separating himself from the relationship that had brought him both extraordinary delight and infinite agony. Meanwhile, Taylor had been discreetly observing Ridge's troubles, providing him with a safe spot to decompress and contemplate. Taylor, unlike Brooke, did not seek quick answers or resolutions. Instead, she gave him the peace and understanding he so desperately needed. Their time together had been filled with meaningful conversations, shared memories, and a sense of cooperation that Ridge hadn't felt in a long time. During one of these peaceful moments, Ridge told Taylor about his phone call with Brooke. "I just couldn't take it anymore," Ridge said, running his hand through his hair. "Every talk feels like we are going in circles. I'm not sure how to remedy this." Taylor, the empathetic listener, put a soothing hand on his arm. "Ridge, you don't need to repair everything right away. Maybe you need some distance to figure out what you truly desire." Her comments struck a chord with him, and Ridge felt clear for the first time in months. It was more than just deciding between Brooke and Taylor, it was also about finding inner peace. And in Taylor, he found someone who was there for him without demanding answers. As their connection grew stronger, Taylor and Ridge discussed the prospect of taking their relationship to the next level. Ridge had been staying at Eric's house, but the situation felt transitory and lacked the sense of belonging he sought. Taylor, seeing an opportunity to help Ridge while also building their friendship, proposed that he move in with her. "Why don't we make things easier for both of us?" Taylor spoke one evening, her voice pleasant and inviting. "You could move in here. It's calm, pleasant, and can provide you the space you need to think things out." Ridge stopped for a moment, realizing the gravity of his decision. Moving in with Taylor was more than simply a practical decision, it was a statement about where his heart was at. Ultimately, the idea of being with Taylor in a tranquil, supportive setting prevailed. Ridge agreed, and their decision set off a chain reaction that would eventually affect everyone in their orbit. Ridge's decision to move in with Taylor shook the Forrester family to its core. Steffi and Thomas, overjoyed to see their parents reconnect, extended their entire support. Ridge and Taylor's reconnection signaled a return to the family dynamic they had always valued. But not everyone shared their joy. Brooke was saddened when she learned about Ridge's decision. The idea that Ridge had not only hung up on her but had also chosen to move in with Taylor seemed like the greatest betrayal possible. She confided in Hope, her voice breaking as she described the events that had led to this point. "He didn't even give me the chance to explain," Brooke sobbed, tears flowing down her cheeks. "So now he's moving in with her? It feels like he's erasing everything we've experienced." Hope tried to console her mother, but she couldn't hide her fear for Ridge and Brooke's future. The thought of Taylor and Ridge living together seemed to strengthen their closeness, making it even more difficult for Brooke to compete for her place in Ridge's life. Taylor's choice to move in together was more than just rekindling their relationship, it was about creating a future built on trust and mutual respect. She made it obvious to Ridge that their relationship could only work if they both approached it with honesty and intent. Ridge expressed gratitude for Taylor's tolerance and compassion, promising to give their relationship the attention it deserved. As Ridge adjusted to his new living situation, he grew to appreciate Taylor's contribution to his sense of security and harmony. Their days were filled with peaceful moments, shared laughter, and a restored sense of togetherness. However, the shadow of Brooke's presence loomed big, reminding Ridge that his decision, while obvious in the moment, was far from straightforward. The shift also had a significant impact on Taylor. For years, she had been defined by her roles as a mother and a professional, often neglecting her personal needs. Now, she was regaining her identity as a woman and a partner. The experience was both uplifting and bittersweet, as she realized that her happiness came at the expense of Brooke's. As the days stretched into weeks, the tension between Brooke, Ridge, and Taylor grew. Brooke, reluctant to give up without a fight, began formulating strategies to reclaim Ridge. Her tenacity, fueled by a combination of love and desperation, laid the groundwork for a dramatic showdown that would put Ridge and Taylor's relationship to the ultimate test. Ridge's choice to abandon his relationship with Brooke and move in with Taylor was a watershed moment in their intricate love triangle. It was a decision that compelled everyone concerned to face their emotions and reconsider their relationships. Ridge saw it as a step toward achieving the tranquility and clarity he sought. Taylor saw it as an opportunity to regain her place in Ridge's life and work toward a shared future. For Brooke, it was a sad reminder that no matter how intense the love, it does not always guarantee a happy conclusion. As the Forrester story progressed, one thing became clear: the decisions taken in this chapter would have far-reaching implications, altering the lives of Ridge, Taylor, Brooke, and everyone around them. It was unclear whether Ridge and Taylor's reconciliation would weather the challenges ahead, or whether Brooke would be able to retake her position in Ridge's heart. But one thing was clear: their narrative was far from over, and the drama had only just begun.